Hey everybody, it's Damon with InCap Store and Incapalooza, and welcome to the Pad Life Podcast. Today we'll be speaking with Ricky Regalado, owner of Rozalado Services. Ricky has built an incredible janitorial business that now spans 27 states with over 350 employees and nearly 800 contract partners. Ricky talks about how he built this business. He talks about the importance of relationship building, contracts, his Get Route CRM, and a whole lot more. I really think you'll like this conversation, so let's get into it. Ricky Regalado, welcome to the Pad Life Podcast. How are you, sir?
I am doing great, man. Nice to meet you. And from a visual perspective, I've seen you. I've seen your logo icon all the time. But yeah, man, it's a pleasure to be here.
All right, that's awesome. I really appreciate taking the time out. Let's just start off with a very basic question. What led you to start a janitorial business?
Well, a very short but long answer is it was really me and my wife. She was my girlfriend at the time. We got into this business by acquiring a company called Coverall back in 2012. And she was not happy with her job. I was coming down from a high. I was a mortgage broker in the real estate business, and that was coming to a low. And we're together and we weren't happy, and we were best friends, and we were like, hey man, let's start something. And my cousin was trying to sell his franchise for a couple of years. He kept nagging us at every holiday party. And we finally looked at each other and said, you know what? Why not? We've never owned a business together, but my cousin was also interested. So we're like, let's just do it. If it works, it works. If not, it's a side hustle. And at least we're working together, right? Because we enjoyed each other and we had fun working with each other. So it was very accidental, it's the best accident that ever happened, to be honest.
That's awesome. And for those that aren't aware, Coverall is a janitorial franchise. They're still around, I'm assuming, correct?
Oh, yeah. Coverall is massive. It goes Janiking, Jan Pro, and Coverall, the top,
right.
Probably the top three across the country.
Right. And it's a fairly affordable franchise opportunity, but probably, to be honest, from my understanding, not one of the better franchise options. I'm assuming that was your experience.
Yeah, man, I pay homage to them because I'll tell you, their training was good. We learned the fundamentals of a cleaning business, right? Techniques, machinery, supplies, but it was more of a job. It felt like a job. Their sales team, the way they were selling contracts to us, we were very ambitious. We weren't trying to get into this to just be content. We wanted to grow and scale the company. So we did it right. We sold the franchise back, and then in 2015 is when Rozalado was born, and we started over from zero again.
Okay, so you got out of the franchise, which is a kind of a common theme with some of the smaller not so small in the case of Coverall, but kind of a theme with franchises in general. Once you kind of get your systems down, your operations, and if the franchise isn't doing a lot of branding for you, what's the point, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can kind of do more on your own and broaden your services, because I don't think Coverall is big on floor cleaning and things of that nature, correct?
No, yeah. They would teach you, but again, it was up to the franchisee. Are you going to take it on? If not, they'll sell that contract to somebody else, or there is that franchisee in that market that is doing it all. So that's the ambitious one, right? But yeah, man, it was just all about cleaning. But that's why, again, I learned. Me, my wife, my cousin, we learned the industry. And again, we did it right. And we just said, man, we want to grow. We want to sell our contracts. We want to win our business at our rates, not your rates, and pay triple the price.
Yeah. And one thing I really admire about your company is it's all about family. Even though you've grown a huge operation, which we'll talk about later, it's you and your family that's basically running it. And, I see that on the page with the leadership team. And I think that's really impressive. I think it's great that you've made it a point to bring on people that you trust and, that are supporting you and you're supporting them. And
oh man, family's
blood is thicker than water, right?
It is, yeah, man. It's family is everything. And we have 24 family members in the company. And people would say, Rick, how are you doing it? Why do you work, let alone your wife or your cousin or your brother and your mom? Dude, because they get it done. They get shit done. That's the first thing you see when you walk into our office is a big sign that says get shit done. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's our mentality. But I would also say it's not just that it's family, but man, we're a team of high performers. And I took that from my friend Brandon Vaughn. He always told me, like, Rick, man, you got such a big family in your business, but they're performing, right? I'm like, man, high performing. It's not, the last name doesn't get you a job. It's what you do with the role. And that's the whole company. That's really what our mentality is just go, 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 enjoy your time. It's a home, but you also get the freedom to go home and enjoy your family as well.
That's awesome. That's really awesome. What services did you start with, both as coverall and then moving into Rozalado? Did you start with just basics, bathrooms,
Yeah.
offices, countertops, glass?
Yeah, man. It was your janitorial, right? Your basic scope of work where it's, vacuum, surface cleaning, understanding your way around a facility and, garbage, how to put the garbage liner the right way and be efficient, knock off 5 minutes of your daily routine. And then we got curious. Then we saw the carpet machine. I've got my Whitaker. I'll tell you right now, to this day, I still have my Whitaker from 2014. And it's my
CRB?
baby. I still got it. It's sitting in the warehouse right now. But I learned carpet cleaning and encapsulation from the Whitaker system.
Yeah,
And then
absolutely.
we started learning how to strip and wax from the square scrub. And then we learned how to do hot water extraction. So little by little, me and my cousin and my wife, dude, you should have seen my wife. She got on the square scrub and she was stripping floors, little 120-pound woman getting it done. But we just did it. We did it not to make money. We did it to learn. And then that allowed us to know how to bid this work and actually get it done and then hire a team and then really start to scale
Yeah,
special services.
exactly. That allows you, frankly, if you're going to do sub work on floors, which is common in janitorial, it lets you know what you should be paying, what you should be expecting.
Yeah.
I mean, really, knowing how to do it gives you a lot of insight, whether you'll ultimately end up doing it yourself or not. It's
Correct.
great to have that hands-on time. That's really huge.
100%,
So
man.
what services have you added? You talk about floor cleaning a little bit, and obviously the janitorial. Any other services that you added to your company once you got things off the ground?
Yeah, so Rozalado from 2015 to 2018 was Rozalado commercial cleaning, right? So most of it was commercial cleaning, but within commercial cleaning was BCT strip and wax, carpet cleaning, hot water extraction, window washing, towel and grout. Um, and then we got into handyman, light handyman. And then it became the client wanted more than just handyman. They wanted more like maintenance work, right? And then the first true trade service that we got into was plumbing, and we did preventative plumbing. So the minute in 1819 when it occurred to me and one of my great team members, Dominic, it was like, you know what? This is more than handyman. We're gonna have to bring somebody in to help us here with like actual facility maintenance. And that's where RCM was born. So RCM is Rosa Contractors and Maintenance. And my former boss, Dominic's former boss, our former boss in the mortgage business came in, Jay Gonzalez, and literally built this thing from 8,000 a month to, damn near 500,000 a month over a course of a couple of years. Cause we now do about 26 services within the Rozalado and RCM brands for our commercial clients.
What do the handyman services include?
So we do preventative plumbing, ongoing plumbing, HVAC work, roofing, landscaping, snow removal, pressure washing, epoxy, concrete coating, painting, and hardwood finishing. I mean, the list goes on. Anything from the roof to the floor to the exterior, Rozalado gets it done for our clients.
That's awesome. Now, is this all within the scope of commercial, or is this residential as well, or property management?
Nah, we stick to commercial, man. We
Okay.
tried to do residential and we failed. We failed a couple times because we just didn't have the bandwidth to service a reoccurring clientele and then have that team to go out and get the one-offs, right? Like we've done it. Don't get me wrong. We've done residential, but it's definitely not our forte. If we get a job here or there,
Everybody loves commercial.
Yeah,
Everybody loves commercial. I mean, it's far more cut and dry. The tickets are bigger. And really the work is more straightforward, especially in floor cleaning and things like that.
Yep.
I mean, you really can't beat it. So do you
Yeah.
do any sort of property management work at all? Like for,
I mean, we work with property managers. We're not a property manager ourselves though. Like we'll work with, JLL, CBRE, Colliers International, Lillibridge. We work with a lot of the big names, but we don't do it ourselves.
right. Okay. No, makes sense. Any services that you've dropped, obviously the residential, which you just mentioned, but any specific service that you've decided just wasn't working for you?
Yeah, man. So many failures, but hey, who's counting? But no,
That's
pest
what we learn. Hey,
control.
that's what we learn, right? I mean,
Yeah, no, dude,
there's
pest
no
control.
success without failure. I mean, we all take
So many
our
times.
losses. And
No,
that's
I mean like residential itself though. What we had a vision of, we are gonna hit Century 21 Remax. We're gonna be their go-to. We're gonna treat it like commercial. No, couldn't do it. Failed. Too many complaints. We got out. We knew we couldn't do that. Pest control was another one. We didn't have that leader. Like that's the one thing we did, Damon, is we learned we have to have the operator that's going to lead the charge for that department, for that trade, for that service. So we have damn near double-digit leaders on our team, because they are leading the ship. Pest control failed. Window washing, we had tried to do like bigger window washing projects, but again, we couldn't do it. We didn't have the right person in the leadership to take it. We can maintain, but we couldn't lead. We got out of that as well. What else? No, those are the biggest ones that they hurt because we did kind of gear up for it. Like I still got cobwebs on pest control supplies on one of our shelving units in our warehouse. I'm like, oh, that one got away from us. That one didn't work out.
Yeah, no. I again, and I love having these conversations with people because I can't say this enough. I mean, where we've fallen short is where we make up lost ground later on. I mean, it's just it's critical to
100%.
acknowledge mistakes. It's critical to take chances and roll the dice sometimes, so to speak. And you take a calculated risk, but it's a risk nonetheless. And sometimes it doesn't work. And it just makes you stronger though when you do something else.
100%.
Listen, you've built a really successful business. I mean, you're in 27 states now. Your goal is 31 states by the end of 2024. You have 350 plus in-house employees. You have almost 800 partner contractors. How long did it take you to scale? How long did it take
so we've been since 2015. So what is that? We're going on 9 years now. We went from 0 to last year ended close to 20 million. This year we'll probably be at like 24, 25. And we're just going to continue, right? Like we have a couple of big clients that are national that we already know their footprint. So we already know that we have 300 and so clinics opening up this year. We have 2 or 3 office campuses that are going to be one over the course of the year. Our footprint is spreading. So we're also trying to keep up with growth, man. We got big vision, right? We have our 3-year HAG is, 50 million. Our 5-year HAG is 100 million. But it takes, we know what we got to do now to get there tomorrow, to get there that next week, to get there that next month. So we take a lot of risk. This is a very big risk on some of the things we do, but yeah, man, it's a challenge that's been worth it. And we don't like to stay complacent. Let's say that.
Yeah, no. Growth is a big part of business, and you're doing that. You're doing that in a big way. So congratulations on that. What sort of accounts do you target, and how do you market to them? So let me just say really quick. A lot of times, like in the Facebook group that you're a part of now, how do I get more commercial work? That's a common question.
Yeah.
To get into 27 states, you must have some strong medicine, some really good marketing. What are you doing, and how are you finding specific types of accounts?
Yeah, man. So it's like a catch-22, right? So everybody will always ask and think like I have an entire sales force. Like we don't have a sales team. Our ops team is our sales team. We have all inbound. Our social media is really what gets us out there. Our LinkedIn and being subject matter in a lot of things and creating content, right? Some of the stuff that you're doing. Our website's pretty powerful, but it's our clients here in Chicago that when they grow, they're taking us with them, right? And and we lead with the human component, but our kind of differentiator is our technology. So when these national clients learn about, route and like just that the fact that we built in-house technology for the industry, they listen to the podcast or they know that we're in this network and this group and BOMA and IFMA, and those clients say, you know what, Rick, we're tired of working with 50 vendors. We want to work with one or two. Like, but can you grow and scale with us? And then when we show them the technology that we have and the visibility that we can give them when we're in these markets, even though we are not there personally, like we have our partner network that is there, that opens up their eyes, right? We don't win everything, but we do win. And I'm always telling people, like, assume the win, be prepared. So that's why I tell you is we reinvest over and over again, man. And it's a risk. Like if you were to ask me, like, Rick, what could you stop growing? If I stopped growing today, I could eliminate probably 25% of my costs in operations because they're there to grow, right? So some people have to be ready to know, like, hey man, there's gonna be some years you're not gonna make any money because you put it all back in the business. And the clients know that when they see that you're reinvesting into certain roles, right? Like we have client success manager, we have director of national accounts. That client looks at that and says, man, you got that. Let me see your org chart. We share our org chart and they're like, holy cow, you're built to scale. And we're like, yeah, that's our goal. Like when you put us in a market, we're going to have that pod and we're going to have that trio team that's going to take care of you. And those things kind of click and the levers get pulled and they start to trust you, which a big tip that I have and a lot of things that I'm going to share with you at your event, Damon, and the rest of the group is the market is shifting for mid-market companies to succeed. A small contractor is still going to make it, but they're going to need the mid-market companies to bring them with them as subs, which is the way to grow is subcontracting. And then the larger contractors, the property management firms and the big national clients know they're low margin. So the low margin, they can get away with low margins because they're so big. That means that service and quality might not be there. So it is the mid-market companies world in the next 5 to 10 years to grab some market share.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So basically a lot of your clients, I'm assuming at this point, are regional or national.
Yep.
Correct.
Yeah.
So
we got Chicago. We've got our backyard. Our backyard
right.
is
So
a
Chicago,
lot
you
of
can focus locally,
Yeah.
right? Because you're there, and that's where you kind of planted your flag. But if somebody's going from Chicago to Milwaukee to open up a new office, they're going to call you, right? They're going to say, Ricky,
Correct.
we need somebody in Milwaukee or what have you. And then you're staffing these various locations.
100%.
But you're doing this without a sales team, correct?
Yeah, our ops knows sales, right? And it's because of the tools we built. Like our walkthrough builder, my HR knows how to do a walkthrough because of our tools. Again, it's a guide. Like you don't really need to know the sales piece if you're just doing the walkthrough to get the photos, get the square footage, get the floor types to create a proposal. Anybody can do that. Sales does come in. Don't get me wrong. Like you are selling the brand there in person, but you'd be amazed how technology and a good charisma and good presentation gets through the door, right? It gets through the gatekeeper when it looks like, hey, your shit. You're going through
Right.
this. You look professional. You look polished. 9 times out of 10, a walkthrough is done by pen and paper. So then when you have a mobile app, you stand out, regardless if you know the industry by 50 years or 10 years. They do ask questions like, what are you doing? What is that? Why are you taking photos? And like things like that.
Absolutely. How big of a role does Google play in your business? I mean, are you ranking high on the search engine?
Nah.
Does it help? Does it not matter much?
No, man, that's one area that I get aggravated. Like we do well, don't get me wrong, but I think we're on like the freaking 3rd page. But if you Googled Rozalado, Rozalado, that's it. There's no other Rozalado. We're the only thing but you have to look for it. That's the thing.
Right.
But if you did do like commercial cleaning in Chicago, there's a lot of companies that pay more for their SEO, so they'll stand out. It is what it is. I mean, I could go down that gamut and get that going. I do have a team that takes care of our website. It's great. You know, my sister-in-law, she's actually the one who's built the website. It's a work in progress though. I mean, we're so busy being productive in so many areas. That is one area I'd love to get better at. So if you got SEO people coming to Capalooza,
you know, SEO is a tough one, right?
Connect me with them. Connect me with them.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, SEO is a funny thing because it's so tough to find a firm or an agency or an individual that's actually going to get you ranked, and it's almost like a crapshoot. You know,
Dude, it is, man. I've been burned. I have.
Right. I think every
do this. Like our industry, David, there's a lot of snake oil of lead gens, SEO, web optimization. I'm like, man, here's another guy. Checked out my site. I don't even know who he is, and he's telling me that my site sucks. And I gotta
but he's got all the solutions, right? He's got to pay upfront $5,000 and $5,000 a month for the next year, and maybe we'll get somewhere. I get it. It's very tough.
I would tell you to answer I don't think I answered some of the question though. Like, dude, I will tell you is networking. I just made a post about this because, you know, as far as sales and how to grow, right, is always be selling your brand, always be telling people you are in the cleaning industry. Not everybody has that. You know, you're not, you know, if you have like a hand of 5 or 6 people that you need, I try to make people remember me as Ricky the cleaner, because at some point they're going to need our services. And people like to do business with people they remember and know. So it's like, always tell people what you do, but be genuine, right? Like ask them what you could do for them first. And like it becomes a ripple effect. And sooner or later it'll come back around. And then know what you're targeting. Like I intentionally go on LinkedIn and know who I want to do business with. So that's where I do my work, is LinkedIn. And I know who to go after, right? I know who to connect with and earn their business. Nobody is given business. You can't there's no luck in our industry. Like you did something at some point to earn it. Like me, I joke. The big joke for us is I gave the right guy pizza, and that ends up being our biggest client to this day. So give people pizza. Pizza's good.
Yeah, anytime you drop in with a little gift or something, and something like makes you stand out from all the other people that are looking for business, that's really helpful. And I'll tell you, LinkedIn definitely is a very powerful tool, but I think is overlooked by a lot of small business owners. Steve Pike, who's going to be one of the keynote speakers at in Capalooza, one of the focus speakers, and also doing the commercial floor cleaning boot camp and all that. He's huge on LinkedIn. He doesn't do much on Google at all, just like you. His whole thing is relationship building. It's talking to various managers, general managers, because he's mainly focuses on hospitality. And he basically echoes your statements to the T. And definitely it's about networking. Do you belong to any organizations, or do you do any sort of work in the property management world?
Yeah, so I recently just got on the board of directors for ISSA. So I'm the youngest,
congratulations.
And the first Latino on
That's
the board
awesome.
of directors.
Congratulations.
So
That's
that was
good.
Probably one of the most prestigious things I've ever gotten. Had no idea that was happening. And I'm new. I'm part of one board here in Chicago. It's the Hope organization. So it's like for the educational system and helping kids in certain areas get into certain schools. So that's pretty cool. I'll be joining BOMA and IFMA. I was a part of IFMA, left IFMA. I'm back in IFMA now, part of the BSCI. I'm a big advocate for the BSCI. People don't know that's the Building Service Contractors Association. Just got into YPO, and I'm part of LBAN. LBAN is the Latino Business Action Network. So it's a Stanford program for Latino business owners that are growing and scaling. I'm a part of a lot of organizations for the same reason of relationship building. You'd be surprised how if you spread those wings, you cast that web, it comes back, man. People end up needing the commercial services at one point or the other, or they know somebody, and they're going to go with who they met before and hit it off at a conference or at an event, or just get to know each other.
Absolutely,
ripples.
Absolutely. And I would assume, frankly, that a lot of these organizations, they're going to attract large clients.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So And the thing, so talking about scaling and growing into states, multiple states, right? We chose multi-location clients as a big niche client for us. Why? Because they've got the mentality to grow. If you've got multi-locations and you're growing into multiple cities, that's somebody I'm going to hook onto because they're probably going to take you there with them. If you could do good by them in a certain market, they're going to trust you and want to do business with you. And they're going to take you to another market. It's happened to me multiple times. And then with technology again, right? Like our marketplace is digitizing subcontracting. So showing that client that you can, hey, send me your locations. I'll put it on our map. I'll see who I have in our marketplace that is a vetted contractor that has their W-9, has their COI uploaded. We show them that and they see that and they're like, oh shit. Okay. So you can cover Minneapolis. Oh, I see 3 contractors in Detroit. You know that we have accounts there. And then boom, there's interaction. There's like inclusivity in the way of you're included in their decision making because again, you're just making their jobs easier. Property management, especially, and facility management when they're a facility. I'll tell you a tip right now is like facility managers, when they're part of multi-location accounts, they have a thin team. They don't have that many people probably on their facilities team. So they really could use a great cleaning contractor as a partner, not a vendor, a partner, to show them like, dude, you grow, we grow with you. What do you need from me? Like, where are you growing next? Include me in that path. I will have a team ready for you before that construction's even done. And again, now you get included in that conversation early on. And it feels good when you're a part of their growth plan because you're getting addresses and spreadsheets of locations that are popping up. It's pretty fun. We get all excited when we're like, oh man, 22 more sites are coming up in Phoenix, Arizona. Let's go. Are we ready?
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
A good feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're making their lives a lot easier. I mean, when this facilities manager or facilities director can call one person,
oh yeah,
and for that's responsible for 4, 5, 6, 8, 10, 12 services. I mean, that makes their life infinitely easier.
100%.
That's great. Scheduling, communication, follow-up for quoting, these are all labor intensive, especially in a business like yours. I mean, it requires a lot of detailed work. You developed a tool called Route or Get Route. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so it as you can see, I was not wearing, I swear I was wearing this shirt before I even knew we were going to.
That's quite all right.
So Route, we are Route the platform. And in our platform, we have multiple different solutions for today. It's cleaning companies, right? You are a commercial cleaning company, residential to a degree. We also can service. But the tool you're talking about was our first tool. That's the first thing I launched 2.5 years ago, almost 3 now. When I myself, because again, I'm a cleaning business owner building software for cleaning business owners. I hit a pain point about was it 18, 19? I hit 2.5 million, 2 million in revenue, and I was beat, man. I was doing walkthroughs all day. I was doing bidding in the afternoon, and then I was doing proposals at night. My wife was like, Rick, we're in Chicago. This is a tech hub. You're a part of this tech community. Like, you use tech all the time. This has got to be, you can't do it like this. You can't do this every day. So, okay, let me see what I could do. And there were CRMs out there already. But what there wasn't was a walkthrough tool. Like, I was doing a lot of walkthroughs, man, like every day, 3 to 4. And I was like, man, I go to do a walkthrough. I write everything down. I come back to the office. I type everything. And then when I type everything, I got to go into Word and create a proposal. I was like, that's 3 different touch points. What can I do better? In comes Route, which now the solution is called Bid. It's under the Route umbrella. But what Bid does is it digitizes the walkthrough to the bid or the bidding calculator to the proposal in minutes, hours. Like last week, we did a walkthrough in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Before that person came back to the office, the proposal was done to send out within an hour and a half. So what we do is we narrow down the time that it takes you to deliver a proposal to your client after the walkthrough is done. And in the walkthrough, you've got photos from that actual walkthrough. You've got measurements. We tie into the Bosch laser, so everything's automated from their measurements. Then you have the measurements and the floor type. you've got everything you need to deliver a full service proposal. Whether they were asking for floor cleaning or carpet cleaning or window washing, the tool in itself is broken down area by area, and it's automated, man. So the minute you hit, this is a healthcare because you're creating the initial walkthrough appointment. The minute you hit healthcare, the cards in the mobile app will show up as exam room 1, exam room 2, dentist, dental suite, pharmacy, but whatever the case is that's in there, it's a default. To that point, the scope of work is a default. Again, things that I know take time. When you're done with the walkthrough and you're creating a proposal, you're copying and pasting, you're moving the scope of work, you're changing the frequency, that's all done for you. And you get to send a proposal out, you get the e-signature, they get it back to you, and then boom, you've won that account. Now get yourself into your operation system. So again, I've lived this pain point, man. I hit a brick wall, and I was a small contractor at the time, and I was like, why can't I get bigger? It's because I didn't have the right tools. With the right tools, you can scale.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I think it's very smart. I'm glad it's working for you. I think a lot of people at Incapalooza will really like what we have to say about it. And I can see that being very, very helpful for the commercial cleaners, even those that are focusing exclusively on floor work. And frankly, even some of the residential people, especially the ones that want to take logs and record the work they're doing, the before and afters and stuff like that. I think it's huge.
No, man. And Ricky Funk, who is my co-founder and my co-CEO, he came from residential. Like he was he owned a cleaning company. It was residential, sold it. Then he built a commercial, sold it. He came over to me to help build route, but he has a technical background. Same thing. That's what he said. He's like, Rick, the minute I start, because he was a route user before he came over to be a co-founder with me, he's like, Rick, I came from residential. I was scared shitless to do commercial walkthroughs. He's like, I was doing homes. I was cleaning homes. I was doing residential. I had no idea how to walk into a walkthrough with route. It was like a guide for him. And he's like, I got more confident. I started doing more walkthroughs. But of course, there's always that, like, you need to do more. And that's when he came over. He's like, Rick, why stop at sales? Now let's help cleaning companies now manage their business as well, right? Time and attendance, workflow, calendar, scheduling, supply ordering, billing, invoicing. He came with all that. And I was like, okay, yeah, let's do it.
I'll tell you, that is one big fear for a lot of floor cleaners that are doing residential and they want to get into commercial, is how to approach these types of customers. I mean, they are just really nervous. They don't know who to talk to. They don't know anything. It might be something I want to talk about in Capalooza.
I'll help them.
Yeah.
I will help them. It's nothing much better than I like seeing people get over the hump. And then a year later, they're like, Rick, I'm closing deals left and right. Like, I mean, because you get excited, right? With confidence comes excitement. And you're almost like, what was wrong with me a year ago when I couldn't even step into a commercial account? Now it's like, it's a whole different world. When you do commercial and you're like, especially like hospitality, like, like Pike does, is you start to walk in and you're like, oh man, this place could use a better service. Who's the manager? Let me go get the general manager card. Dude.
Yeah,
like
that's exactly what he does. Right.
You're always on.
Right. 100%. One of the issues in commercial, though, particularly janitorial, can be account turnover, right? So a property gets a new GM or an office gets a new, office manager, and they look for ways to kind of like shake things up. They might look for a new janitorial company. They might change this, change that, just for the sake of changing things. Even if you're doing a great job, they might decide they can save a few dollars by going to a different company. They want to make that impression for upper management, like, hey, I'm doing stuff, and that comes at the expense of your account, obviously. So 2-part question, I guess. Are contracts a big part of what you do?
Oh yeah.
And also, how do you minimize on the accounts that don't have contracts, or just even the ones that do? How do you minimize account turnover?
Yeah, man. So that is where, remember I think I was talking about earlier, client success came in, right? Is a lot of times you're so excited about winning the contract. So to your point, though, everything is commercial contract. At least minimum is a 1-year deal. We shoot for 2 or 3 year contracts. We've even got some for 5. But because it's reoccurring, it's fixed, it's going to be ongoing. Again, anybody can cancel. There's that 30-day clause that anybody can get out of a contract. But that's on you now. You've won the account. Process it, win it, retain it, right? Retention is everything in this industry. You've got to have some type. Again, I know it's hard for a smaller company to say, well, Rick, I don't have the funds to have a client success, right? Your operations are the owner is client success until you find one. But creating a cadence of outgoing, outbound reach outs, stopping in to say hi, having QBRs, right? You're never too small to have a QBR, a quarterly business review with that client. You start to have that kind of a conversation. Again, the client may say, I have no time for this. I can't do it. That's okay. But you put it out there, and then you can also send emails on a renewal basis, right? Or reoccurring basis. Be on top of your renewals. Nothing more, I fell victim to this even last year. Like, again, it doesn't matter how big you are and how fast you're growing. Renewals will bite you in the butt. If you're not sending out emails to get a contract renewal signature, they may go out and be already going out for a bid, or you may have skipped or forgot that the date passed. You can't up your price now. You should be on a 2.5% to 3% escalation price year over year, but it might not work out, if you're not on top of it. So a lot of the times with contractual is get in front of them, show value. You talked about it earlier, is the services. Add more services. The more services you do, the more sticky you are. The more sticky you are, the more reasons they have to not go somewhere else, because you want them to think, I can't let go of Rozalado. They're mission critical. Like they get things done for me. They answer the call. They're always communicating. Like, I can't tell you enough how many accounts we've won from another contractor because they're like, we would hear from the contractor every 3-4 months. Like, you're just opening the door for somebody to come in if you're not over communicating with your client.
No, that's great. Does this contract also, so say you have an account maybe that's just floor cleaning, do you have any like that, or is it usually Jani plus additional services?
That's a good question. So more so on our concrete coating and epoxy, yeah, those are straight, like, we win business just for that floor service.
And those
But
are
the
one-off
others,
jobs.
yeah, but the others, they're a part of it, right? So like the
Right.
best, the bread and butter is when you've got the clientele that when you walk in and it's a multi-location account and they got carpet, tile and grout, LVT, VCT, and you have them on a reoccurring basis, you're winning right there, right? Like you make more money and more profit on floors. We all know that. Janitorial gets you in the door, then you get the floor services. But if you get the floor services on a reoccurring schedule, man, are you winning? You can compound that win if you keep getting more accounts like that. We seldomly will get business and just do floors. It's the other way around. We have a lot of accounts that we just do janitorial, right?
Mhm.
But if we're in there in janitorial, you better believe the next thing that we want to do is get that floor service schedule too.
And you do offer, we talked about this earlier, but I just want to reiterate this. You do offer some exterior services too, correct? Window washing, landscaping.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, our 3 largest clients that are span across the country, we do all that: exterior, interior, on the roof, everything. I mean, another one that we haven't talked about is supply ordering. We do supply ordering management. So we charge a percentage every month to manage the supplies, because we end up getting a better price point because we're part of a GPO that some of that clientele might not be a part of.
Oh, that's awesome. So you'll order whatever they need for their location and then invoice them, an itemized invoice with your fee attached.
Yep.
Is that based? Okay. That's great.
Yep.
That's great. That's awesome. Next question. So how do you quality control your work? I mean, you're in Chicago. You have an account in Tampa, Florida, for example. How do you make sure they're up to your standards?
Yeah. Technology again, right? So again, like the role I play with Rozalado right now is a CVO. So I'm the chief visionary officer. So I haven't been in the day-to-day for over a year now, almost a couple of years. I'm focused on route. So as we're building route, Rozalado is like always a case study for us. So that was our number one thing, is we're growing. It was our first pain point is scared. Your fear of what is going to happen in Detroit, in Sarasota, in St. Louis, and all these cities that we're in, the contractors there servicing the account for us, are they going to show up? Well, yeah, they are, because it's a requirement, right? It's they have to clock in, clock out. They have to do inspections. They have to follow through on communication. It's a partnership, right? The client expects it through technology. You can do that. And by the way, the affiliate partners is what we call subs. They end up winning when they actually embrace the tools, man. We've got affiliate partners that use our technology for themselves and their business, because they're using it for us. They end up realizing, man, my employees are clocking in. I've got visibility on when they're late for a shift. You've got all the inspections, you got photos, you got what we call as the 6 steps of success. So we don't ask the contractors to take pictures of everything. It's the pictures of the journey of the account, right? So it's like when you first clocked in, boom, supply room. Give us a shot of the supply room. What's it look like? You're doing garbages, boom, perfect, awesome. And then you hit that picture, you get to the bathroom. So from the bathroom to the garbage, we can see the time in between. All right, awesome. Bathroom. Once you finish that, now you're doing surfaces. Now you're doing floors. Now you're doing blah, blah, blah. All the areas. We're not doing that to know what's going on and that you're doing it. It's to know the story of the night. That if an account is 4 to 5 hours, you got that buffer of 45 hours. The client complains about, hey, did the team clean last night? You look at the application and you're like, yes, they did. Why? What's the problem? What happened? Oh, they missed something here, and there. Okay, no problem. We'll get to that. But here's our journey of the night, just so you know. And you'd be surprised how clients are like, holy cow. Like, you really know that the teams are performing their work, right? Because you're working with ownership. As a prime and sub, we always work with the owner. We don't work with the teams. And the ones that embrace it, man, I can't tell you enough how they turn around and they use those 6 steps of success and this technology to grow their business. It's for you. That's our partnership. That's why we work well together, is utilize our resources, utilize our tools, utilize our processes. The better you do, the better my team can sleep at night.
Absolutely. That's really smart. When somebody has an issue, like, not one of your partner contractors or one of your team members, but an actual customer, they contact you. Not you directly, but obviously they contact Rozalado. Yeah. They're not contacting your partner contractor, correct?
Mm-hmm. Correct. Yeah, the community.
You just
the
address
comms,
it right away.
Yeah, comms is. I mean, it gets to a point though where you do have some partners where, I mean, we have partners, to believe it or not, Damon, that like they're using our walkthrough tool to perform walkthroughs, to send us contracts to win, to then sub it back out to them, because like we're just dialed in like that, right? And we'll also allow for the clients to talk to them. It's a trusting. Like at some point, you do get to the point where you're a trusted advisory group for one another. Go for it. But if it's something that has to reach the top of the chain, yes, we'll address it back here in the Chicago office. We have a task management system. They'll send out the task, turns into a work order goes back to them. Whether it's a complaint, it's an added service, it's a notification of just something, they send it to the home office. We send it back to the local contractor or the local team member, and we get it done, right? That's all about lines of communication.
No, that's awesome. How long does it take to source a contractor in a market? Is that a difficult vetting process?
Yeah, man, that has been our marketplace for route has not launched yet. It's in beta, but it goes live next month. And the goal with that is we can capture the network outside of, Facebook, love it, hate it. Mm-hmm. Like, you don't know who you're working with on there.
Right.
So our goal with what we've built is you got to have a profile. Like, what's your logo? How many employees do you have? What's your revenue? How many states do you cover? Are you ISSA member? Are you a BSCI member? Are you part of the janitorial store? Did you get SIM certified? Are you IIHRC certified? Like, you are building a sales page as a contractor, so that when I have an account open, I can post it. And if you apply for it, I visibly can see that you're a badass. You got your shit together. You have built out your profile for me to want to do business with you, versus going to Google, you look at and you hover over a profile, they don't have an email, they may not have a website, in which in turn, a lot of smaller contractors are very good business owners and businesses. They're busy. They just don't have the time to create a website like everybody else, right? So, I mean, vetting is everything. Upload your COI, upload your W-9, have it ready, sell yourself on this profile, because a lot of websites don't tell you all that, right? They may look fancy, but do I really know you as a business owner and know that you're going to come through and that you have an entire process, right? You are the owner, you got a supervisor, you got 10 employees, you got a trainer, or you're building it, you're trying to get there. A website doesn't always tell the story if it's a vanilla website.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And from what I've seen on social media and on some of your posts, it looks like you go out and actually visit a lot of these contract partners as well,
Yeah.
or members of your team will go out there and visit and have, meetings and sometimes training sessions and things like that. Correct?
Yeah, we try to empower, man. Like that again, like I tell my teams, even though I mean me and you were talking about this before we got on, right? It's like some contractors, they don't do a great job as a sub, right? They try to, they're working it as a job more so than a business, when they have to remember that if you're the prime, that you're the client now. Like there's some certain level of expectations. But if we as the prime empower them and show them and coach them and consult them, and we're empathetic because we've been there at one point or time, let's grow together. We'll meet, not us personally train you, but there's a lot of third party training systems, right? I even have, I don't know if you saw, but I got Joe Cradock from Doc Facilities is retraining my whole team again. Like back to the drawing board. Let's improve
That's
our
awesome.
training. Let's
Yeah.
improve quality control. Like what we did 5 years ago is not what we can do again. We're always training. I don't care how big you are. Like you always have to be training. And the contractors that you work with that embrace that and they're open to, videos that you send them or a third party trainer that you send them, it's in the end, it's for the better of the client, but at the end, it's for the better of you two, like your relationship. If it's
Yeah.
open and you're working with each other, there's nothing better than having a partner you can rely on and say, hey, we're about to start. I'll tell you an example. I got Evelyn and Dan in Austin, Texas. Some of the best partners we've ever had. We worked for them for 7 years now. The minute I have a contract that opens up, it's in their inbox in like 30 minutes because I just know they're going to get it done. Again, a relationship that has worked to that point.
That's awesome. And, really you're empowering a lot of your partner contractors too, because you're giving them the tools like route, the training in many instances, and basically allowing them to scale, right? Where they're bringing on more employees for your projects, but they're gonna be able to take these tools and grow on other projects.
Yeah. Yeah, man. And dude, this has happened many times too, is they end up graduating sometimes, right? I call it graduating. Like they get to the point where they're like, man, Rick,
Thanks, Ricky. But
I need to make more money on this account.
Right.
Love you.
Mhm.
And it's amicable. At that point, it's like, you know what? We actually did our job. Like we helped you grow. We can't afford you anymore. Like you got to go. Like you have an entire operations team. You got an office. You got 10 vans. It's awesome to see the growth and let them, hey, it is what it is. We did a good job on helping you, and you did a good job at embracing it. And like, dude, you're off to the races. Good luck, man. We're always here together.
Absolutely. And one thing about janitorial I want to bring up, you mentioned earlier, it's kind of a way to get your foot in the door for other services, which is absolutely true. But when you scale a janitorial operation, I mean, it can be very, very profitable. And also janitorial businesses, when they sell, commercial cleaning businesses in general, janitorial, I think in particular, they fetch a lot of money on the market.
Oh yeah.
So if somebody
Especially
sells a
now.
janitorial, right?
Yeah.
It's a turnkey business. You have a steady income stream, and you don't really have that interpersonal relationship like a maid service or a carpet cleaning business where it's individual based. This is more about B2B business.
No, man.
And I think that's really important. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I thought like I there was this big old M&A discussion in Puerto Rico. We were just at the BSCI CEO seminar. They're in one room. We had like $20 billion worth of revenue in this room. CEO of ABM was up on stage talking, Harvard, Marsden, Sodexo, Aramark, the biggest companies, and then your medium size, and then smaller, and all collaborating and working and networking together. And this one discussion was there, and it happens every year. And dude, yeah, they tell you like if you get your company to like 1 to 5 million, you got like a chance of 3x on your EBITDA. If you get to 6 to like 10, your chances are like 4 to 5 to even 6x. If you get your company to 20 to 25 and above, 6x is the minimum to even 7x, and it keeps going, right? And the differentiator is the more you start to automate some processes in your business, and you incorporate technology, and you incorporate the processes that, again, think about when somebody comes in to acquire you, they're going to think about how can I improve the bottom line? I don't need that. I don't need this. I don't need that. There's no hard feelings against it. This is what needs to be done though, so then they can increase that profitability. So think of everything you can do to operate lean and prepare yourself for an exit. There's two different ways to approach it. Like, we're not ready for an exit ourselves, so we're heavy. We got a lot of operating expenses. We are investing a lot of money into the company. Somebody would buy us, and we'd probably get less now than we would get if we waited a couple of years and leaned things out and prepped ourselves to be a 7-8x EBITDA. Oh, and by the way, we have an entire tech system that operates our things. I want that 9x or 10x because we're actually an innovative leading company versus just a janitorial that does 1 or 2 services. We do 20, plus we got tech, plus we streamlined our processes.
Right. Absolutely. Has acquisition played a role in your growth at all? Are you buying up any janitorial companies?
We're looking, but we've only done one. I mean, we did one on as far as in general with the Rozalado, and then I also was a part of acquiring janitorial store in my house cleaning biz. But those are 2 different type of acquisitions.
Right. And I would assume that if you're going to buy a janitorial company, it would probably be in Chicago, right? Because the contractor model is working so well for you. What would be the point of actually?
Well, no. So we do. I mean, we're interested in other markets, right? Like we have some heavy W-2 markets. Like we're in markets that we have a lot of our own employees. Because the goal that we do is, if a market hits a certain threshold of revenue, we have to flip it and turn it into a Rozalado team and self-perform environment. But it's got to hit that threshold, number of accounts, revenue for that market. It makes sense now to have supervision and regional management.
Right, because that's an investment for you, right? You have to put people in the market. You have to have offices. You have to have an hourly staff, and it's going to require quite a bit of capital. So that makes perfect sense. And if you could buy a company that's already established that has cash flow, that makes it easier. So
correct.
Finding them. I got you. All right. Look, you're very active on social media. You have a great social media presence. One of these is the Cleaning and Cocktails podcast. Tell us about that.
It's my baby. It's my fun. Like you enjoy this, man. It's the first time I don't get to be on the other side. I'm usually in your seat. But no, man, it came about to be it's an in-person thing that I wanted to do right before COVID. There's a speakeasy bar here in Chicago. It's called the Janitorial Closet. Like literally, that's the name. It's the old janitor's closet of a hotel. They flipped it, and it's like a bar that can fit 6 people max, and they serve some great old fashions. And I had gone in there by chance, and then I was like, man, again, here comes a cleaner, right? Mentality. I'm like, hey, who cleans this place? Hey, this is a great account. It just opened. Oh my God. And then I meet one of the managers, and I'm like, you know what? This is an awesome speakeasy bar. Like, could I host an event here? He's like, I mean, it can only fit like 10 people though. And I'm like, you know what? Better yet, what if I did a podcast here? I'm drinking. We're opening up. You loosen up. What if I called it Cleaning and Cocktails? And he's like, whatever you want. Sure. Come on in. I did 2 shows, and then COVID hit. So then there goes in-person podcast. So I had to wing it, do the regular Zoom stuff. I did not like it. So I'm coming back now. It'll be 2 full years of almost 2.5 years that the podcast has grown now, man. It's its own entity. I've had a blast doing it. We got our sponsors, Casa Azul. As you can see, I keep drinking Casa Azul.
Yeah.
This is like a mini Cleaning and Cocktails. But dude, I've enjoyed sharing cleaning business owners' stories. Nobody's ever asking us to share our story. So I've turned it around where I just love spotlighting cleaning business owners, but then I took it a step further. Nobody's ever interviewing suppliers and manufacturers and distributors or director of facilities. We got a kick-ass podcast show that you're going to see that we were at the Miami Dolphins and Hard Rock Stadium. Nobody's ever interviewing these people. So now we're on the road, right? For the past year, we've been going out and meeting cleaning business owners and facilities people where they are, and just having fun, man. Like walk and talk in a venue, having some cocktails, and showing people that the industry is a fun industry. It's an exciting industry, and it's a necessity. Like we're an essential service. We're not going anywhere. We are recession proof and pandemic proof. So we're here to stay, but we also deserve respect at a higher dollar amount for what is the work that we do to keep this, keep everybody working pretty much.
Absolutely. I think that's always going to be an issue with services, even essential services that have a low barrier to entry, is how do you make sure that you're getting that basically what it comes down to is respect, right? That respect is shown through revenue. How much somebody's willing to pay you or business is willing to pay you for your services. I think it's really important that that's protected.
Yeah. And we're doing live events now. So I'm gonna share about our live events. It's coming up in April 23rd to the 25th in Orlando. We do it with BSCI. It's going to be a co-locating event, but you and the rest of the crew and the team should check it out, man, because it's going to be just another event like yours, right? Small booths, a lot of different speakers, a lot of speakers not from the industries, more like business and mindset type of speakers. But yeah, man, events are awesome because it brings the community together. I'm coming to your event. I'm going to meet people for the first time, man. Like our industry is so big. There are over 1.2 million cleaning companies in the US alone. So it's massive. Like me and you probably know like 0.01% of the entire industry.
Have you been to a ISSA show?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's massive. They're in Chicago, right? Every other year. So yeah, obviously.
Well, no, so now, being on the board of ISSA, I get to know a lot of the insights. We are now solidified for the next 2 years in Las Vegas. We're at the Mandalay Bay. We were just there last year. We're going to be there next year and the following year. I have a pretty big booth that we're going to have next year. Last year it was a 20 by 20. I'm big on going to those events. BSCI follows right there. It's right after, but because of F1, I think it's like back to back. It's right next to each other. I would argue it's one of the best weeks of the year for cleaning companies. That event, to go there to see what it is.
The scope of the show is just incredible. I mean, it is massive. And I agree. If you want to get an idea of what this industry is really about in terms of size and capacity, I mean, look no further than the ISSA show. I mean,
100%. Yep.
Incredible. One of the things that's discussed a lot in Pad Life, the Facebook group that you and I are a part of, it's from cleaners that are smaller, maybe a husband and wife operation or a single owner operator on a van doing commercial or residential or a hybrid of the two. And they're kind of I wouldn't say in a rut. Sometimes they like it. They want it that way, and that's fine. They're doing well. But oftentimes they want to grow. They want to get off the truck, or they don't want to be on a route doing the jobs. What is your advice to those people that really need to that want to break out and get to that next level? And sometimes they can be short, capital. It could be a capital issue. It could be fear. But if you could summarize what you advise that they do to get to that next level, what would it be?
Yeah, man. So I'm not big on advice. I'm more on shared experience. So all I could say is the things that I went through. And there was a moment in time for the first couple of years, I was ashamed of being a cleaning business owner. I was like, man, I didn't go to school and get my degree to be a cleaning company owner. Like, man, this is a side hustle. I'm just going to keep this on the side and I'm going to work and find a better career for myself. But I'll tell you, it was a moment when I met it head on and I told my wife, and I was like, man, babe, we could do something with this. And I was like, Tony, dude, between us and the people we know, and what if we went all in with this, and we actually sacrificed everything to get it done. man, we were making probably $1,000 a month. I was living with my mom. I moved back in with my mom. I'm not telling you to move in with your mom, but I moved in with my mom, and we sacrificed to the point where we were like, what do we got to do to get out of cleaning and actually start to build something? As we started to look at every account and every win and started to think about wins in a small level, where we were like, all right, we know that to hire an employee that's going to want to stay with us probably full time, because we didn't really know how to sell the part time yet. We were like, it's all about hours and making money. As we started to get creative, we started to win business that were 3 to 5 days a week, that you can stay in one region and tack on 2 to 3 accounts where I can go to you. We were meeting people in Dunkin' Donuts and Jimmy John's. That was our interviews for the first couple of years. But like, hey man, we got this bank, we got this dental clinic, we got this office, we got this daycare. It's 4 to 5 accounts. It's going to be 5 to 6 hours. You do the math. This is about $2,000 a month. That's a package, right? Like, we could clean it and we could make that money, but we didn't care so much about how much money we were making at that point. We were like, how much money can we win for the business to then assign to a team member, that if we win that's 2,000 for that team member. We win another 2,000 of business. We can hire somebody else. We boom, boom, boom. That turns into 3, 4, 5 people. They say we want more hours. Okay, cool. We're going to win more business and put more on that plate. And then when we started to fill people up with 40 hours of work, we were making a little profit, not all profit, but we started to say, now we can expand. You hire 4 to 5 people full time. They're making great money. You're not making too much, but then you're from the profits of those accounts, you can hire one of those 4 to 5. I always tell people, like, those first hires, one of those is going to be your supervisor. Now you got it. Now you're building a team. Hold on, I'm sorry. Now you're building a team for you to go out and start building your business. The minute you have a supervisor that can be in the field, managing your accounts, helping you with the team that you put together, you can turn for even 5 to 10 hours a day, 5 to 10 hours a day, 5 to 10 hours a week to work on winning more business, properly building the profession. You become a professional, man. And now that's when things get interesting, because you're not caring about the profit. The ones that I see that always end up failing is they want the money in their pocket, not in the bank, that can then help you create, you need 2 years of tax returns, 2 years of statements to build line of credit. It's not easy. Those first 2 years are the toughest 2 years of owning a business, because not until the third year is it that you can go out and get a legitimate line of credit. So you got to make it work for the first couple of years and earn that right to get that line of credit. Even though I'm not a big fan of the banking system, I think it's flawed. It hurts us. Like, they're always in the rears. They're not in the future. You got to get it done. Think of big picture. Think of the small wins. Look at your numbers. Know your numbers. And you can't be afraid of you suffering first. So then in the end, you get the rewards.
It's a sacrifice.
Yeah.
Absolutely. In a lot of respects, it's in some respects, you have a little bit of a staffing company in a way, right? I mean, you're about the services, but at the end of the day, it's about the team.
100%. I am the CVO/recruiter. I've been a recruiter my entire life, my entire life in the cleaning industry. You're always recruiting, right? I tell you, it's so funny. I'll go to restaurants. I'll give you some tips on that. Is restaurants and hotels are the best places to find people. If you watch them and observe them, a lot of the staff that's busting ass, the barbacks, the food runners, the housekeepers, the concierge, the valet, they are a service-oriented mindset working in those environments. You get that person that smiles and looks at you and gives you a service-first approach, give them your business card. Like, I have many managers that worked in hospitality, because that's where that service-first approach comes from first.
Absolutely. We're about to wrap this up. I do have one last question. More and more people are working at home. We had the health crisis a couple of years ago, whatever you want to call that, COVID. How did that impact your business? And have you seen a bounce back for people going back into the office?
Man, the work from home, I hate that so much. I've had to grown to appreciate it though, or not appreciate, but understand it because I'm with Route as a tech company. Everybody wants to work from home. They're like, oh, Rick, I'm a developer. I can work from home. I do this. I can work from home. I'm like, oh my God, that's not culture. You can't create culture working from home. So we're big on, you got to work at least a few days in the office. That's where the camaraderie continues to build. But yeah, we didn't have it for a while, man. Even though I showed up every day, I had to. Owners, you got to show up. The health crisis in general, I would tell you, this should teach people how to diversify their accounts. And now knowing what I know and what happened to us and how we put ourselves in a position to never really stop growing, we were heavily in healthcare. We were heavily in areas that were considered essential without really knowing that, though. Like now that I know, it's everybody should know that part of your portfolio should be essential, because they're never going to shut down. So if anything, they're going to increase services, which is what happened to us. We had restaurants and bars. They shut down. Those didn't go anywhere. We had co-sharing accounts. Those didn't go anywhere, right? You had to shut down for over a year.
Oh, like WeWorks, those type
Yeah.
places? Okay.
So I would say just diversify your portfolio and make sure you have healthcare in your portfolio.
Are you seeing more people returning to the office?
Oh yeah, everybody comes to our office now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, but also your clients.
In general, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I am, but it still also is a ghost town in a lot of commercial office buildings. But you'll be surprised in the next year or two, it's going to come back. I mean, some of the economists that we've been seeing talk, they're talking about how they're getting creative with those spaces to bring the people back. So, I mean, still push forward. Don't turn your attention away from commercial office buildings, because they're going to come back.
Okay. One last question I meant to ask you earlier, and then I'll have my final question. Government contracts, whether it be city, county, state, federal, do you bid on those at all? Is that a big part of your portfolio?
I mean, we have somebody who does. We have a couple here and there. We don't have too much. I still don't really take advantage of my minority-owned certificate as much as I should. But the contracts we do have, they're good contracts. You're going to get paid in those terms.
That's the best part, right? You're going to get paid, period.
You're going to get paid. Yeah, you're going to get paid. You may not make the profit that you think you're going to make, but you can depend on it. And it's a secure account that the money's going to come in. You can depend on the moment it's going to come into your account. And they don't like to switch too much either. So they're usually 2 to 3 a year accounts. So you can have some peace of mind that if you win one, you're in there. Now, what else can you get while you're in there?
How big is that MOC in winning these accounts?
What do you mean, MOC?
The minority-owned certificate?
Yeah, minority. Yeah, we got MBE, MOC, NMSDC. They got a lot of acronyms.
Got it.
It does help. Yeah, especially if I am starting to lead with it as far as when I go to events and I'm intentional. Like they have in Chicago, especially, they have a lot of diversification. So there's a lot of credits you'll get. But at the end of the day too, man, like a minority-owned certificate is good for you to get an opportunity. I still push my fellow MBE certificate owners, like you still got to have your shit together. Be a good business. Win that business because you're a good business and a better business, not because you got the certificate. Right.
All right. Final question. 5 tips.
Oh, shit. No, I'm kidding.
Well, I'm asking everybody that goes on. I'm asking this last question. 5 tips for new business owners.
Man, number one is brand identity. What I mean by that is just know that you as the business owner, you are the brand. So take your brand as far as you can. So create an identity that's going to differentiate you from the rest of your competition. Network. Always be networking, but be genuine with your networking. Don't go there and say, "Hey, how are you? Awesome. See you around." Hey, how are you? What can I do for you? How can I add value? Here's some shared experiences I have. Like, get deeper with your conversation. Number 3 is learning. Always be learning, right? Is get coaching, get mentorship. I have mentors. I have coaches. I coach. I mentor. It only just gets your brain going, right? Nothing about getting your brain pumping and always working. Number 4 would be right. What I mean by right is don't forget, even though I shouldn't be saying this, right? Pen and paper, I'm against pen and paper, but write down stuff. Like there's something about when you write stuff down that your mind and your conscious kicks into another gear, and like you memorize things better when you do write down. So take time to write down and block out time in your day to write stuff down, to repeat it in your brain and memorize it, and then kick it in gear with your daily routine. And number 5, which should be number 1, I take that back, is your family. Like right now, I'm about to get off. When I get off here, I'm going to go to my 2 boys and my wife. They know how hard I work every single day. But when everything is said and done, when you've had a great day or a bad day, you woke up with your family and you're going to go to bed with your family. So just remember that family matters more than anything else.
Yeah, and again, like we talked about earlier, family is a big part of Rozalado. I mean, your
Yeah.
whole upper management. I'm assuming a lot of the people that are working out in your field offices in different parts of the country, et cetera. And that's really something to be proud of. So, identity, networking, education, take down notes, write things down, put pen to paper, get it in your head, and family.
Yep.
That's awesome. Well, we look forward to seeing it in Capalooza here in just a few weeks. We're about just a little under 4 weeks shy from the event. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Damn, so you're telling me I got to book my hotel?
Yeah, you got to get your hotel at the plaza. Yeah, we got a great room rate though, $49 a night. Can't beat it.
All right. Oh shit.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
yeah. No, it's very good. So we look forward to meeting you. It's going to be a lot of fun. I really appreciate you taking the time out today to talk with us. Great conversation. A lot of information you shared, and we'll be chatting soon, Ricky. Thanks a ton.
Awesome, man. Thank you much. Thank you so much, man. And see everybody out there.